Hello everyone, and welcome to another Kev Play. This is Kevin, and we're on episode 46 of The Last of Us Part 2. Last time what did we do? I'm trying to think. I know we got here, obviously, but we had to because we were trying to get through some sniper fire. Abby was with Manny, and things got hairy, and turned out the person who was sniping us or sniping at us was Joel's brother, Tommy, who has been going on quite a rampage. You know, his own little revenge fueled, uh, endeavor, pretty much instilled by Ellie. Because originally Tommy wasn't really going to be, he was kind of passive, kind of like, let's just move on. He has a wife at home, um, but he's doing this because he knows this probably what Joel would have wanted. Which, Joel, it's just like the impact that this guy has had on him, regardless if it was indirectly or not. It's just it speaks volumes. Volumes. Anyway, Manny, who I did forget his name last time, but yeah, Manny and Abby were trying to make their way through. Manny ended up getting shot in the head, and then Abby, in shock throughout all this, of course. Um, Manny was there of his own accord, but once once Abby tussled with Tommy and she saw that it was Tommy, the guy that she let go when she, after what she did to Joel, she, it's almost like, I don't think she's had time to process it, but she knows that it's the ripple effect of her own choices that kind of brought Manny to his demise. I don't think Abby's the kind of person who dwells too much on it, but I have to imagine her subconscious is being eaten away at. Uh, you know. So, but that's that. But yeah. In the meantime, we're now trying to catch up with Lev, who's trying to catch up to his mother. Isaac has sent his troops out from the WLF to take over this Seraphite camp, and we basically got to get through this before all hell breaks out. Who sees me is the question. Oh, peripherals. Okay, short work of view. Where? Oh, this guy's gonna find out. He's gonna call out soon. Don't call out, don't call out, don't call out. Call. Okay, two bodies right on top of each other. Look at that. That's a little sad, as I must say. Been playing, I'm still going through Kingdom Come Deliverance. It's a long ass game. Thankfully, it's just a game I've been casually playing a couple hours every night, if I can. I'm not in any rush to play any other games until next year. But I'm playing that. I'm trying to get through the story as, I am like I did most of the side quests pretty much at this point, and I'm pretty much leveled up. I'm trying to get through the story at this point. Not that I'm not enjoying myself, but I do. It's like I'm playing it like there's a lot. There's a lot that's happening in that game. It's just it is going longer than I expected, but I'm having fun. Other than that, we'll talk about the Game Awards as we do, but one of the cool things at the Game Awards that was revealed was Helldivers 2 gave a free update As did oh, and Astrobot gave a free update too. It's like a Christmas themed level. So I played through that. I played through the Astrobot level. A lot of fun. Really cool. Uh, Special bots to collect that were from mainly from PS1 era, but also some two surprising PS4 guys that were very much missed in the original, base game. Definitely recommend playing it. It's a lot of fun, full of joy and Christmas wonder, and just great Astrobot fun. Other than that, yes, I've been also playing Helldivers 2. They've released a new faction. It's a completely free DLC or like pack or whatever. The new faction is an old faction from the original game, apparently. I never played the original game. The original game is like a top-down version of Helldivers, not a third-person over-the-shoulder. But, this new faction is called the Illuminate, and they're kind of like a alien humanoid type faction. They shoot back at you, but it's not as overwhelming as, say, the automatons, which are the robot faction, which I tend to play like between the automatons and the terminids, which are like the Starship Trooper type bugs. I usually go for the bugs, the terminids. The automatons are usually a little too overwhelming for me. It's only like if you have a good group, it's good. But other than that, yeah, the Illuminate I like because it's like they're not like they do swarm you and stuff just like any of the other factions, but and maybe it's because I haven't really played on the tougher difficulties because my friend who I was playing with, actually Siegfried, who you may have met if you listen to the Chivalry podcast, he was playing with me. Oh god. I think there's a guy above me. But we were playing. We just wanted to get our refamiliarize ourselves with the game. God, make sure this guy doesn't see me. Oh, there's a shit ton of people here. But yeah, we were playing that, and it's a lot of fun. Oh god. We were playing that, but hey Pulpit Pig, how's it going? There we go. I'm just getting hyped to watch the new Sonic movie. Okay. When are you gonna watch that? Oh god. Oh. Saturday morning, okay. Yeah, Sonic fans are eating well, it feels. You guys are getting a lot of good game, my friend at work is a big fan of Sonic, and he's been playing the games. He enjoys the movies, all that. So I'm happy for you. There you go. After this, I plan to play Helldivers 2 because apparently there's a Killzone Warbond like DLC pack that they were Arrowhead, the developer, was charging like a lot of credits. Basically, you can earn super credits through the playing the game, but they were charging like 35,000, and right now I have like 700 something. And like if you play the game for an hour, maybe you'll get 10. So there was a lot of fan backlash that because basically if you want to get it, then you have to pay real money. And what happened was Arrowhead actually, you know, in conjunction with Guerrilla Games, they decided we're going to give it to you guys for free. So I'm willing to hop on that as soon as I'm done here and get the new Killzone. You can basically play as a Helghast from Killzone, and like there's like, you know, different guns you can get and little accessory stuff, which I think it's pretty cool. It's the first crossover with another game that Helldivers has ever done, and there's a lot of speculation that Resistance is going to be another crossover at some point. Like maybe a faction will be the Chimera, which is the enemy faction in Resistance. So, and like I was saying before, at the Game Awards they announced a new free DLC where it's a new enemy faction. It's an old faction from the first game that's returning, which kind of mixes it up. And me and my friend were playing that over. Oh, I think you saw me.
She's running.
Oh.
Down one.
I have some things to say. Is it about the Game Awards? Oh yeah, the Game Awards. Yeah, I have plenty to say myself. You could start.
Awesome.
Oh, let me heal myself because I feel like I'm gonna die soon. They're probably ambushing me. I mean, Okami 2. I never played the first Okami. I do remember hearing of it. Is that the game? I don't know if you recall this, but I remember when Canadian Guy A was doing an interview with one of the Toys for Bob developers. He mentioned a game that he feels would be cool if Spyro took inspiration from, in terms of gameplay, or maybe like the spirit of the game in a sense. Was Okami that game? Is that the game where you're kind of playing as kind of like a four-legged animal? Yeah, I remember that being that seemed to be a big surprise for people. People seem to be very delighted with that announcement. Yeah, it's like a wolf. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I remember. I think Canadian Guy A said that he basically said like it would be cool if Spyro kind of took some pointers from a game like that, because I think the Toys for Bob developer asked him like, you know, what would you like to see in a new Spyro game, and it kind of threw him off guard, and that's what he came up with, which was interesting. Okami is a brilliant game, platinumed it 3 years ago. Okay. Dope. Wrong button. Damn it. That was a good headshot.
You'd better run.
Yeah, but maybe I'll check that game out sometime.
May she guide me.
It's over for Mr. Boldman. There's a new Onimusha. Never played it, but it looks
Getting
cool.
clear.
Okay.
That was crazy. We're getting close.
Yeah, I never played any of that either. Any of those type of games. Again, another thing they announced was that game Split Fiction, which was that game I was the new Joseph Fares game from Hazelight Studios, which is like the co-op studio, the couch co-op studio. They're the ones that did A Way Out and It Takes Two. This one, it seems like it's like you're playing as two women, and one woman is like is like in the sci-fi world, and the other is in a fantasy world, and they kind of like mix and clash those genres together as you play. And it I don't know, it's like, to me it's like, maybe I'll wait and see what the reception of it is. I have no doubts that it will be good, but that's the thing with Hazelight Studios, is it's always like a roll of the dice. It's like either the game will speak to you or it doesn't. And for those, if it speaks to you, that's cool. If not, then... But at the moment, it's like, I'm like excited for the studio, but I'm not like, you know, I'm not like bowled over. Yes, that game. It feel like I need to see more of that game before I'm sold on it. Exactly. Like, I'm sure that it's going to be good. I think they've been learning more and more ever since their two previous games and the success of those games. I imagine he's been getting I imagine the studio's been getting a bigger budget for them to work with from their success. You know, so who knows? But it looks promising. Look, like couch co-op games today are very rare to come by. So if it turns out that it's really good, I wouldn't be opposed to checking it out. Other than that, I'm trying to think of, like, they showed The Witcher 4. I'm not really... I haven't played any of The Witchers, but I have my friend who I interviewed on the Chivalry episode. His name is Robert. He is very excited about it. He likes what he saw. Yeah, The Witcher 4.
Come on, this way.
It looks cool. Like, when I saw that and I didn't know what game it was yet, I was like, this game looks sick. I could see myself playing this. And then it was The Witcher 4, and I was like, oh, I haven't played... Of course, I haven't played, like, the first three, so... But when I saw it, I was like, this looks like a PlayStation Studios, like, you know, big type of game, like, big story-driven game. Those are the games I love. Any of these big... you know, story-driven games, that's right in my wheelhouse. That's not to say that's the main focal point of why I game, but it's what draws me to the PlayStation ecosystem. So yeah, it's good to see that there's a sequel for that. You know, they put a Final Fantasy 16 character in Tekken. Oh, okay. I like when fighting games do that. Didn't they do that with like Kratos for one of the, like, I think it was like Soul Calibur or one of those fighting games, maybe with Street Fighter. It might have been Soul Calibur, but they put like Kratos in as a playable character once. I think we're good to go here. Oh, Mortal Kombat, right. I lose track of all these games, all these fighting games. Like, it's those four that are like, you know... But yeah, and other than that, the most obvious one to talk about is, the reveal of Naughty Dog's next game, next potential franchise, Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet. I think that's what it was. I think that's what the subtitle of it was. And of course, the Naughty Dog game. Look, I am 100% sold on anything Naughty Dog does. I'm not one of those guys that sees, and you know that you know, for me, it's like the discourse on Twitter right now that's trying to create controversy because it's a Neil Druckmann game, and oh, they didn't like The Last of Us Part 2, and you know, the protagonist is a female, you know, who shaved her head in the middle of the, like, I don't care about that. I don't care about that discourse at all. Like, I think it's immature, it's anti-art, and it's counterproductive for people who love games. And, you know, forever people have been complaining that all we've been getting is Last of Us, you know, The Last of Us Part 2, Last of Us Remaster, Last of Us Part 1 Remaster, Last of Us Part 1, Remaster, you know, like, we're getting a new franchise game from them. It looks cool. You know, and before they even revealed that it was Naughty Dog, I was like, oh, okay, this is like, you know, this looks like a big project here. And by the way, Tony Dalton was shown in the picture when they do like the pan across the wall with all like the stuff that's pinned up on it. Tony Dalton, who played Lalo Salamanca in Better Call Saul, is going to be in this game. So that's all I need to know. Knowing that Neil Druckmann is on this game, you know this game is going to get a lot of hate. And that's what it's going to be. You know, look, not every game has to be for everybody, and I understand that Naughty Dog is a AAA studio with a lot of reach, and creating a game that doesn't cater to everybody's sensibilities is going to create more of a splash in the social media discourse of it. But at the end of the day, if you don't like the cut of the jib of a game or a movie or a TV show, you just simply don't. You simply move on and play or watch or you know, delve into whatever it actually interests you or whatever you think is going to interest you. But me, I chase great storytelling, and I know Naughty Dog's capable of that, and I'm totally down to see what they have in store for us. Other than that, I think it's cool. A lot of people were I saw a lot of people on Twitter, and I had to push back on this. A lot of people were like, calling out the product placement that's there. There's like Adidas, Porsche, Sony, of course, using real life brands. I don't understand what it is with people where they see a real life brand in like a film or a show or, you know, a game, and their first gut instinct is to say, oh, it's product placement. That's bad. That's bad. Without weighing the consideration of there's a difference between blatant product placement for the sake of product placement's sake, where like they're trying to pay the bills or they're trying to just, you know, get ad revenue or you know, have a gift basket sent to them. You know, this is Naughty Dog. First of all, they don't need money. They don't need help from these real life brands or whatever. There's a difference between that and creative reasons, artist intent behind putting that. If you watch 2001: A Space Odyssey, which is one of the greatest films of all time, made by Stanley Kubrick, Hilton Hotels there in in space. Real life brands can serve a purpose that's greater, like a greater purpose to painting a world or like establishing a world, and there's no mistake that there's intention behind showcasing that stuff. So, and I think it's cool. For me, I like how the real life products clash with the idea of you're exploring like deep space. Deep space being the concept of as that we as human beings we are so insignificant in the greater universe. But then you're going to use real life brands like Adidas. It kind of makes there's kind of like a sense of there's a clash there where it's like we're so in our own heads or in our own world on Earth of like being indoctrinated with all these brand names and consumerism and commercialism and all that, and for that to be brought out, even when you're exploring planets that have never been explored before or something, there's almost like a sense of humor to that, and I like that. And then I know for like 2001: A Space Odyssey does that same thing with many real brands. So people trying to make this out to be some sort of thing to criticize the game for, it's a little silly to me. But and the trailer has thousands of dislikes. The ratio is in the dislikes' favor, which again really doesn't mean much though, because again it's a game being made. People, first of all, I'm willing to bet the sales on this game are going to be astronomical, regardless of what people say. Regardless of, think about Last of Us Part 2. It's exceeded 10 million plus units sold, and that was a game that leaked the plot beforehand. That the plot got leaked, and people were up in arms over it. The politics of the game, and of course what happens to Joel. They were up in arms. They were ready to burn everything to the ground. If you were to take that and use that as a signifier that this game's not going to sell well or something, you'd be wrong. I think people just hate just for the sake of hating when it comes to Naughty Dog at this point, and I think it's a shame. But I don't think I think controversy, art is controversial. Even you think about like Clockwork Orange or like Full Metal like the Full Metal Jacket, or like I'm thinking of like these Stanley Kubrick movies. They were very controversial when they came out. Clockwork Orange, like Stanley Kubrick had to leave the country because he was getting death threats over that movie, and now it's like an American classic, and it kind of always So I try to look at this from like a third person perspective of just people are going to be mad, especially with a lot of bad faith actors on the internet that just want to bash the game regardless of what it does, just because it has that Naughty Dog stamp on it or Neil Druckmann attached. So whatever. I'm personally excited for that game. I think it looks cool. I'm willing to learn more about it. There is almost like a with a lot of what Neil Druckmann's done so far, there's almost like a monolithic quality to it, to how it's being presented. Like when you see that like kind of like blown up moon with a spiral of rocks around it, and you're staring out at it, there's almost like a greater a greater like sense of like power in that image, similar to, I think of like Uncharted 4 with that mountain that has like a mouth in it that you see throughout the game when you play. Very monolithic. Same thing with the Last of Us Part 2, where they keep showing us the door to the hospital room. Like almost like with every day that's passed, they keep showing like a sequence of us having to walk through that door again. There's something very eerie and intriguing about that, and I like how that's kind of being brought over to this new game, and a sense of mystery and intrigue, and a sense of like awe. And I'm willing to see what they do with the story. It seems like it's going to be quite the ride. But we don't know much. I'm just glad that we have something to go on for now. And that's that. That's because it's following Last of Us 1's success. That's true. That's true, but I think at this point, Naughty Dog has the notoriety the same way a Rockstar game does. It doesn't matter that a GTA 6 is going to have a female protagonist. A lot of people think the game's going to be a woke game or something. You know, like there's like articles saying like they're not going to be punching in in the direction of minorities as much as they used to. I don't think that means the game's going to be any lesser, or that, you know, I think I have faith in the gaming community that a great game is going to get recognized and will get its due in terms of sales, regardless of what a lot of like these people who live in like the Twitter bubble of just creating content that's always negative and toxic, and you know they're chasing those clicks in order to have the same boring conversation about how, you know, oh, we're playing as a female, or, you know, I think at the end of the day, a lot of gamers, regardless of what your political leanings are, I don't think we really care. I think we just want a great game, a great story that pulls you along, and that's that. I don't think this era where we're playing as, and we are playing as a lot of women in this generation, when it comes to having a female protagonist, I don't see that as a negative at all. I see that as it's just the era that we're in, and I'm willing to be in that era the same as I was in like the PS3 era, where you're playing as Drake or Kratos or whatever. Because at the end of the day, you're still getting there's still games out there for everybody. You know, I'm playing Kingdom Come Deliverance right now. You're playing as a guy who can go to the bathhouse and be with a prostitute if they want, and you can go to the tavern and drink, and then you can shoot have a sword fight with bad guys and stuff like that. There's still games like that where you're playing as the gruff man or whatever. So I don't know what people are. I don't know. For me, it's like it's just a tired rhetoric that's been you know. It's a beaten dead horse at this point for me. This is a new game, but I don't know. Again, and this I don't think anyone is if you play the game and you don't like it, that you are completely within the right of having that opinion. Doesn't invalidate your opinion if it's not, if it doesn't speak to you or whatever. But I just don't like how everyone judges it right away as, oh, here we go, it's gonna be some woke thing just because she shaved her head. I don't know. This game better be the best thing ever made. Hey, I have faith. And at least it's not The Last of Us Part 1 Remastered Definitive Edition. Exactly, you know? We finally got something else. I think people should just be grateful. There's so many great games to play. There's so many great things to watch. I'm never bored. I can barely keep up with all this stuff.
Abby,
So
your people. Look. Holy shit.
oh,
They
here
should
they come.
protect us. Yara, we need to move.
But anyway, I do want
What are
to
you doing?
see if we can get through a few of our top 10 Desert Island 90s games. I don't know if you've prepared. But maybe if you have, maybe you can go first with your number 10, or I can go first if you need just time to think for a second. Um, well, well, we're not going to go through 10. We're not going to go through 10 in this episode, so you'll have time if you need more time. Okay, I'll go first. Yeah, so we'll go through as many as we can get through, and then, by the time, if it takes 2 episodes or 3 episodes to get through the top 10 list or whatever, then so be it.
Get down.
There's no rush.
This is a gift. They're on our territory now. Let's show them what they deserve.
Oh God.
Through her love, we will survive this.
Okay, I'll go first. My number 10 for top
That was close.
10 desert island games
Where to
in the
now?
90s.
Look,
In the
there's a
90s.
lodge up ahead.
Yara, back in the logging camp. Where were they taking the kids?
We have shelters everywhere. If things get really bad, we'll take them off the island.
Good.
We knew this day might come.
Okay, so my first one that I'll say, that I'll put in my number 10 spot, is Twisted Metal 3. I've only played the first game and the third game in the 90s, but the third game, even though David Jaffe, creator of Twisted Metal, is not a fan of the third game, I always found the third game to be the most fun. You can play co-op with a friend, playing through the main campaign of it. The controls were a lot smoother, the controls were smoother. Gameplay was a lot more versatile, lot cooler weapons, a lot of great characters to choose from. For me, that game, when I was a kid, I kind of got away from this, I guess, but when I was a kid, I used to be a big fan of, like, cars. Like, I used to have, like, a whole thing of Matchbox cars. Like, I had a whole, like, toy chest of it. So, Twisted Metal, in general, was a cool way to kind of, like, bring that to the digital space where I can be in a car and shoot projectiles. It's like car combat and crash the cars together and stuff. It's basically what I was doing as a young child before I was even playing video games with my Matchbox cars. So, Twisted Metal 3 was always a lot of fun. I always liked the dark sense of humor and the twistedness of it, where they would have these character bios of these very scary characters that you would play as, like Sweet Tooth being a very, the serial killer clown who drives an ice cream truck. But then you had other ones like Mr. Grimm, who was like a demon who drove like a motorcycle. There's a character, Axel, who is literally fused to he's literally the axle to the vehicle, where it's a 2-wheel vehicle and he's the one who's holding it together. And I like how Twisted Metal always had this kind of like sense of, with Calypso, he's going to grant you a wish if you win the competition. It was a very genie in the bottle type of concept where, your character has a goal to do one thing, and then if you win, Calypso will grant you that wish, but there was always a twist to it that was very underhanded or very unexpected. the game just had a great sense of humor. It was fun trying to get through every level. There were boss battles, like playing against Darkseid, which was again like another demon that would drive like a semi truck. It was a lot of fun. I never played the second game. The second game's supposed to be deemed as like David Jaffe what he thinks is the best game, other than Twisted Metal Black, which came out later on the PS2. But between Twisted Metal 1 is a little rough around the edges. That's why I didn't choose it. But Twisted Metal 3, I feel like that was like Twisted Metal 3. It's like cutscenes, and it's like it's a lot cheesier compared to the first game's darkness, and I imagine the second game's darkness. But they are so funny. You can even go on YouTube today and just watch like Twisted Metal 3's like character introductions or like the final cutscene or whatever. And it's so the animation is so silly and goofy, and the whole and just the scene in general is just so it's just so like fun to laugh at. But yeah, great co-op game, great gameplay. I never played the fourth game, which again I hear wasn't that good, but a lot of people say the third game isn't that. A lot of fans love the third game, but I know David Jaffe doesn't like the third game at all. But anyway, that's my pick for Twisted Metal. If I was to pick one out of the franchise, out of the two that I've played, it's Twisted Metal 3, which came out in 1998, I believe. So that's my first one. How about you, Papa Pig? What do you got for your number 10? And you don't have to go into a huge essay, of course. You can just say it, and I'll try to see if I can comment on it a bit. But yeah, definitely give an idea. Super Mario 64. Okay. See, when I came up as a PlayStation guy, I had a friend who is my best friend to this day. I would go over to his house. He had Nintendo 64. He had... So, like, it was almost like the grass is greener on the other side for both of us, where he came over to play my PlayStation games. I would come over to his house to play his Nintendo 64 games. And yes, Super Mario 64 is a game that I definitely remember playing a lot. One of the first, like, 3D... the first 3D Mario, but definitely one of the pioneers to 3D games, especially with the platformers. But yeah, let me read this and I'll read what you have to say. We are imperfect beings, and thus we make ourselves imperfect in her eyes. So say the teachings, so say the elders. But the cuts on my cheeks still burn and itch 2 weeks after the ceremony. Eva told me hers did too, but warned me not to show weakness before the elders. A surprise tonight. Eva snuck out and met me at the tannery when I was cleaning up. She told me her brigade leaves tomorrow for wolf territory. I could tell she was scared, so we sat and watched the fire for a while. She asked me if I had been promised yet. Before I could answer, she kissed my cheek and dashed back into the woods. In that moment, I forgot where I was and all my troubles left me. And Eva's brigade has not returned yet. Went to the communal dinner in Haven to quiet my thoughts, but found no comfort there. It was unusually quiet, apart from Elder Duncan's usual sermon. But even that felt different tonight. He said, though our prophet guides us to cleanse the demons and rebalance the world, there is no promise that such a thing will come to pass in our lifetimes. It is an eternal struggle. Lots to think about tonight. Okay. It's a good game. It revolutionized the 3D platforming. We wouldn't have a lot of games without it. That came out in 1996, I believe, right? Which was the same time, or was it 1995? I forget. I think it was 96 though, right? When the first Crash Bandicoot came out. And you have also said, but if you play it right now, it starts to show its age. Yes, I would say it has a... I wouldn't say jank. I would say the controls are a little rigid. Oh, 97. Oh, interesting. Yeah, the control. Yeah, it was more the first, I think, 3D open world ish type game. So like Spyro the Dragon coming out a year later after '97 would kind of take inspiration, I feel, from Super Mario 64. I don't know why, but whenever I play Stonehill and Spyro the Dragon, I always think of Super Mario 64. I don't know what it is about that level. Maybe it's the very it's the first level that really feels big and green. And whenever I think of Super Mario 64, I think of like that the green grass you run around in and everything. But yeah, I remember playing Super Mario 64. I never played it from beginning to end properly. Um, I just never had a chance to do it. But I do remember playing a lot of it. I remember doing the racing against the penguin on that like slippery slide race, and that there's a shortcut through like one of the walls that's like very subtle. Um, that stands out in my mind. Obviously, I remember like jumping through the paintings to get to different levels. A lot of the platforming being like in lava sections. I remember there was like a mountain area you climb where you had to like go up these slopes, and there's like those big black bull bomb things that are like trying to get you. But if you get behind it, you can have a really fun time in this game. Yeah, that's what I feel whenever I play games that are older now, that are not quote unquote up to modern standards of how a modern game would present itself. I find that if you just play the game and just kind of settle in, almost like easing into the hot tub, you'll get comfortable and you'll start to get behind the mechanics of the game. I feel that way with like I felt that with Metal Gear Solid, or like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Like if you go back to the first Tony Hawk Pro Skater, like it's definitely, even compared to the PS2 games, it's definitely a bit clunkier. But overall, it is something you can quickly pick up and play and get used to really quickly and be like, wow, this game plays just as well as just as good as it always did, and it feels good. But yeah, good pick for your number 10 there. I guess I'll go with my number 9, which is Mega Man Legends. But yeah, that's my number 10. Okay, yeah, great number 10. I'm gonna say, so for my number 9, I'll say Mega Man Legends. This is the only Mega Man game I own, surprisingly. There is a sequel to this game that I never played, and apparently and there's even a spin-off to this game where you play as Tron Bonne, who's the female kind of sort of antagonist. She's kind of like what Bianca is to Spyro 3. She's kind of like presented as an antagonist, and I think she pretty much is an antagonist, or like a quote unquote evil person, almost like a Team Rocket type. And so there's a game where you can play as her completely, and it's almost like an anti-hero game. But that game apparently is one of the most rarest games in video games, like to find and to purchase. Very expensive. But I played the original Mega Man Legends, which is where all this spawned from. The only history I had with Mega Man beforehand is back when I lived in my older neighborhood, before I moved to the neighborhood the neighborhood I would say I grew up in and stayed with for the rest of my, for my young life or whatever. I remember going over a friend's house when I was like in kindergarten, and we played like a side-scrolling Mega Man game, probably like early '90s game, for all we know. Or I don't know. He had older brothers too, so maybe it was like from the '80s. Who knows? It was on like the SNES, or no, it was the Sega, whatever the Sega was for like early '90s. But yeah, my only game I ever owned was Mega Man Legends. It is basically, for me, what I always thought of it as. It's like Metal Gear Solid for children. It's like a mix of Metal Gear Solid and Pokemon, in that you're collecting things. You're collecting like you're not collecting Pokemon, obviously, like you would go to town and you can talk to people in the same way you would in a Pokemon game, but then you have to go like into like the more dangerous areas like dungeons and stuff, and try to get try to go on whatever the quest is and try to get things like treasure. um the game scared the crap out of me when I first started playing it as a young kid. It came out in 97 as well. um it scared me because the game starts you off in a dungeon that's very dark. You you hear your companion Roll, who's like your kind of like who I would say like Misty in Pokemon is to Ash. She's like on the intercom talking to you, like very a la Metal Gear Solid, and she's kind of guiding you through. But it's like a dark corridor shooter, and like scary robots are popping out of the walls, and then you have to face this big boss robot in order to escape. And then once you escape, you go to like the most friendliest town ever, where it's like blue skies, green grass, and then you go into the town, into like the city, and it's really cool. When I got this game, I didn't have a memory card at the time, so unfortunately, I didn't have. I would always have to, whenever I would play the game, I would always have to trudge through the dark, scary dungeon part every single time, and it was almost like dreadful to do that, especially as a child. But the reward was always getting to this town that they introduce you to. Correction, I'm looking at some 90s games, and Mario 64 is 1996. See, I had a feeling it was 1996. So yeah, Mario was, because the next big platformer game that was kind of open world, and correct me if I'm wrong on that, in that at least that I'm aware of, was Spyro the Dragon. I know, I forget when Legend of Zelda came out, because that would obviously be, in terms of like mascot characters you play as that are for children. I think that's an open world game. But I know Spyro had a lot of inspiration. That was 2 years after Mario 64's release, so that's interesting. But it's interesting that Crash Bandicoot was kind of there too, even though it was more linear as a 3D platformer. But it's cool. Maybe I should get this thing going. 4 times scope stability. Yeah, let's give it stability. Okay. But yeah, Mega Man Legends is a great game. It was one of those games I never beat for a long time, but then like I would say like in the mid 2010s, like maybe like 2015, 2014, maybe 2016, I'm not sure. But I decided to play Mega Man Legends again. I beat it, and it is even a deeper game than I thought it was as a kid. Because as a kid, there's a lot of child-friendly stuff to it, but you'd be surprised how deep the mythology starts to get, and how deep the lore gets as you get towards the end. And it made me intrigued to play the second game, but I just never had the chance to. I never got my hands on it. It's definitely one of those games a sequel that I would pick up if I ever have the chance to. But anyway, I want to throw in. I definitely just want to give Mega Man Legends its credit, because it's one of the first like big single player games that I played. That was a big world, lots of boss fights. You upgrade your gear as you go. Even like the gameplay mechanics to it are deeper and than you would think. And it was just really cool. Really My only real exposure to Mega Man, but I always enjoyed that game. How about you? What would you say would be your number 9? Number 9, Tekken 3. Okay. I like that you specifically chose 3. What do you think 3 has improved upon from the first 2 games that would make you choose that maybe like uh, catches your interest more? I played Tekken back in the day too, but it was more in arcades. I think it was available at arcades, like a Dave and Buster's or a Sports Plus, or even just like a regular video game arcade. But I remember playing that. I definitely played that. I definitely gave my fair share of playing that game.
On the other side of the farmlands.
But I don't really have too much memories of any of like the deeper specifics of the game. You know, I know the one character. I think one of the Taken characters is in PlayStation All Stars, right? Because I remember he always stood out to me as kind of like a mascot to that series. I forgot who the character's name is though.
Where are we going? See that tall tower?
Now I've never really played the first 2 games, but I did have spent some time with the 3rd game.
Yeah, I see it.
Yes, Heihachi. Okay, so Heihachi's the guy who has like the black hair, right? And it's kind of like jutting out of both sides of his head a bit, I think, or sort of. And he has like the mustache, I think, or like a goatee. But yeah, that's good. I mean, playing the sequels is, especially with a game like that, where it's like it's a fighting game regardless of, you know, it's similar to Twisted Metal. You can pick up. You don't have to have played the first Twisted Metal to enjoy the 3rd Twisted Metal, or vice versa, or whatever. So playing the 3rd game, that's cool. And I would pick that up if that was the case. Like if it was the most recent one at the time, I would have picked that one up over the first 2, regardless. Because I just want a fighting game at the end of the day. That's young Heihachi. Okay. How many Tekkens are there at this point? Is it 8? Because I know there was Tekken 8. Is there more than 8 at this point, or? It's really cool. My favorite character is Yoshimitsu, and that's about it. Okay, 8, there is 8. And so when did Tekken 8 come out? I mean, not Tekken 8, Tekken 3. But then you have Tekken Tag Tournament and its sequel. Okay, so there's like spin-offs to it too, instead of like the mainline sequels.
Is it true about the number of wolves? Dozens. We let this happen. Doesn't matter. Just be ready.
I'll let those guys go that way. Thankfully, they're all using fire torches, so I can see where they are. But yeah, that's a good choice. When it comes to fighting games, I don't have... Honestly, I only have PlayStation All-Stars in terms of a fighting game. I played... I think I did play Taken back on a demo disc, which I still have. So there's that. Tekken 3 released in 97 for arcade and 98 for the PlayStation. Okay. So far, we're like in late 90s in terms of our picks, which is understandable because honestly, to be fair, I don't think I have any early 90s stuff in my games anyway. I didn't really... My first console was a PlayStation in 96, so... 90... Was it 96? Actually, I got my first PlayStation in '97, so a lot of the earlier games I got by happenstance, you know. But that's cool. Tekken 3. When I was a kid, I came up with the idea of a game called Street Fighter. I independently came up with that idea, and I don't know if it's because I subconsciously saw it on TV or something already, but I remember thinking as a young kid, like at 4 years old, like, and I was drawing pictures of it, thinking there should be a game called Street Fighter. Uh, and then of course there was a Street Fighter. So I either just subconsciously didn't realize I was coming up with something that already existed, or I independently arrived at it and just was not as as inventive as I thought I was. With these 90s, I have played a lot of them, but I haven't beaten them, so I don't know if I should put them on the list. No, if you played any of the game, feel free to put it on the list. Doesn't you don't have to have beat it. You know, at this point, we're just talking. It's just a excuse to talk about what the game's meant to us, or what you know what our experience was with the or memories of the game. You know, remember this is a desert island, so if you didn't get a chance to play it, you're going to be on the island. You're going to have your whole lifetime to play it. So it's almost like a game you would want to bring to the desert island because you haven't even beat it yet. I should probably take these guys out. There's a lot of them. Yep.
Come on!
You know what? I want to give our time. I want to respect our time when we do this. So we got through two. Well, we got through 4 games. Between the two of us.
Where'd they go?
We'll save it for next time, R8, and maybe we'll start a little earlier. I just want to get through this fight, and we can probably call it. But I think you have a solid. You have a solid list so far. I think I have a good list so far. Yeah, I didn't realize the time either. It was fun talking about it. Oh wow! I never heard such a scream of agony from one of the NPCs like that. Okay. Are we good? But yeah, your list is good so far. Your 10 and 9 spot. Just to recap, you have Super Mario 64 as your 10. Number 9 is Tekken 3. I'll keep note of it too. I'll rattle them off. Remember how I used to rattle off the Game of the Year? Game of the Years. Well, I'll rattle it off. As we go. And then, yeah, me, it's Twisted Metal 3 as my number 10, and Mega Man Legends as my number 9. I'm hoping I can get through this game. I'm hoping this is a good stopping point for me. I feel like I'm still in the sequence. So let's just see. my god, there's so many. Let's see if I can get through this. Damn it. Ooh. Gurgles. This is one violent game.
That was rough.
Let's get to the village.
Okay, so this is a good stopping spot. Next time we'll continue. I'll make sure, even though I'm going to save it here, I feel like all these collectibles are going to still be here. So I'll make sure by the time I start it up again that I will have collected whatever I just collected from here. Yeah, Puppet Pig, it's been a pleasure. Anyone out there who wants to like, comment, or subscribe, it's greatly appreciated. You can subscribe to Kev Plays 9490 on YouTube, and you can follow me on Twitter at Let's Watch Series. Yeah. Other than that, stay safe, stay healthy, keep a clear head, and keep on gaming. And we will continue our push to Lev, to find Lev as he's trying to catch up to his mom. And yeah, it's getting intense. A lot of crazy firefights in this one. And we will continue our top 10 list next time as well. All right. Peace out. Nope, wrong button.